Thanks for tuning in to Her Why. This is Practice Chats with Annie Robinson, where we take some time after practice to get to know the athletes and coaches at BYU. Today, I'm with assistant swim coach Melissa Springer. Melissa, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So this is something we need to talk about because I saw this video of you, and it's introducing you as an assistant coach, and at the very end, you say that you love competitive jigsaw puzzling. What's that all about? That is so fun. Do you do that like at home or tournaments or?
Yeah, so my mom and my sisters, we just have always grown up doing jigsaw puzzles.
Okay.
And we're a competitive family, you know, and kind of in every facet of our lives. So somehow it used to kind of turn into a competition, right? That we were always racing to see who could put in the most pieces or get it done the fastest. And, you know, nobody's going to bed until this puzzle's done kind of thing. And eventually it carried over into family reunions where my mom would buy the same puzzle on repeat, you know, maybe 8 of them. And so we'd set them all up and everybody would race. And it just kind of became a fun tradition. And so a few years ago, we started entering puzzle contests. So
that is so fun.
I love them. I think it's totally nerdy and just something fun to do, something totally different.
What's your strategy? How do you start?
Well, I mean, every puzzle is different, right?
True.
But believe it or not, like I studied, how do you do this fast, right?
Yeah.
I want to be the best at what I do. And, you know, whether it's starting with the edge or starting with colors or, you know, sorting in different ways, that's just kind of, you know, everybody has a role when you're doing it on a team. And that's really how I've done it the most. Most of my competitions that I've done have been done where I'm with a team.
Okay. How many pieces are there?
It varies.
Pieces?
Anywhere
Okay.
from 500 to 1,000 is typically what we do.
Wow. That's so fun. So you just trained and then you're like, okay, we're signing up.
We're signing up. We're doing this. And actually the puzzle community is really fun.
The puzzle community. I love that. That is so fun. I'm like, now I want to join. It sounds so fun.
You should.
You're back at BYU, but this time you're on the deck instead of the pool. So what was this first season like for you?
Man, I just have to say this was an incredible opportunity to be able to return back to my alma mater, a place that I love. And honestly, you know, my husband and I used to always joke, we'd only move to Utah if I coached at BYU. So here we go. We're here. And I'm a part of an incredible program, phenomenal head coach that I'm working with, Tamara McAllister, and just feel so blessed to have this opportunity to be back at BYU.
It's so exciting. How did you get to know Tamara? Like where is that connection?
Yeah, so when I was a freshman here at BYU swimming, Tamara was a sophomore.
Okay.
And we kind of instantly connected. And we just had a lot of fun moments together. And we've kept in touch over the years, even though very loosely.
Yeah.
She knew that I was in the coaching world and I knew that she was coaching. And just kind of, you know, a text message or coming to an alumni event and seeing her every few years is kind of how we kept in touch.
This team had a super strong year, 3 All-Big 12 honors, 5 school records, and the best NCAA finish since 1991. That's so crazy. What stood out the most to you from this first year?
I think what stood out to me the most is that, you know, we were a fairly new staff and we just had to hit the ground running. 3 of us came in at the end of August, and that's basically when the athletes arrived on campus. And so, you know, for us behind the scenes, it felt chaotic, but we wanted to put on a good presence and a front for our athletes and let them know that we cared about them and that we were here to help them achieve, you know, their highest potential. And, you know, we just pulled together and worked really hard on creating a season plan and putting our athletes in the best training groups that we thought they needed to be in, and then constantly adjusting to help them be successful.
It paid off. We can see the results. It went great for you guys. You helped coach Mackenzie Miller-Lung to a national runner-up finish in the 200 breaststroke. From your coaching perspective, seeing that, what went into that moment and what did it feel like to be a part of it and see that race?
Yeah, I think it's always incredible when you have an athlete that achieves such a high level. And honestly, again, with Tamber at the helm, she had such a vision for what could be accomplished, and she loves to win, and she loves to help, people achieve their goals. And as the season went on and Mackenzie got more serious about what she thought she could accomplish, um, Tamber just really crafted a masterful plan to help her achieve that. And lucky for me, I was an assistant in the process and I got to see it unfold. And it was a pretty magical moment to be there at NCAA's and watch her do what she did. And every time she got in the pool, it seemed like she was breaking records. Yeah. And so it was a pretty incredible experience. And she just has such a charming way about her and brought a lot of good energy to the team.
And she almost stopped swimming. So we're glad she kept
Right.
going.
We're glad she kept going.
Glad she kept going. So we're going to rewind a little bit. So you swam here at BYU your freshman year, back in the early 2000s, but you ended up stepping away from the team after your brother passed away. So what do you remember when you think about that time of your life?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I mean, how many times in our lives do we come up with a plan or an idea and think that it's going to, be executed exactly as we have in our minds and laid out? And it wasn't anything that I thought was going to happen. Thought I was going to be a collegiate swimmer, that I was going to do it all 4 years, and that I was just going to improve and be successful and have this phenomenal experience. And instead, I got here, and my brother's cancer that had been in remission came back in full force, and it was a hard time. So I look back on that time, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I didn't necessarily end my swim career how I had hoped. But, looking back now, I mean, it was part of God's plan.
Yeah.
And has, set the trajectory of my life and actually what I do now.
Yeah. It led you to where you are now. Yeah.
Right.
Which is crazy. But you also described it as feeling very out of body and like you were physically swimming, but then you were emotionally not there, which I can completely understand. But how hard was it for you to walk away from the sport that you'd just been doing your whole life, probably?
Yeah, I get a little bit harassed by my family for this, but when I was younger and my brother could drive, he was supposed to drive me to my morning swim practices. And if he wouldn't drive me, I'd sit in his room and cry.
Oh my God.
Because I was like, I can't miss. Like, this is terrible. You're, ruining my dreams kind of thing. And, we kind of joke about it now, but I loved everything about being in the pool. It was just such a passion for me. And I loved the intricacies of the different strokes and the technique and just, everything that swimming brought with it. So I find it to be a very unique sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a team sport, but you're also very solo with your head in the water all the time, right?
It's true. Alone with your thoughts.
Alone with your thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just think that when I got to BYU, again, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And my mind was frequently on what was going on at home and how my family was doing. And everybody else was there but me. And I wasn't there to help. I wasn't there to console my brother, who was my best friend, who I did everything with.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to swim at BYU as well before he was diagnosed. So that part was hard. And I think that it was challenging to do something that we had always done together. And I just felt like I just went through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I was passionate about it, my heart just wasn't there anymore. My heart was with my family. And so as hard as it was, I just knew that I needed to step away, that I needed a break. And then, ultimately my brother did pass away. And so, you go through so much emotions during that experience.
Was there ever a time when you were continuing your education where you were like, did you ever feel ready to get back in the pool, or were you just like, no, I don't think I'll ever be in that headspace again right now? Or did you ever think about like, oh, I might want to try to rejoin? Did that ever cross your mind?
Well, oddly enough, I thrive off of exercising.
Yeah.
And so that's something I know that I need. And I immediately started training for a marathon.
Okay, there we go.
And so it was just something different. And I had a cousin that I trained with. And so it kept me active, but doing something different.
Yeah.
And I was able to talk while I trained.
Oh,
And probably that's what I needed at the time,
you
right?
probably did, yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, it wasn't really until later when actually probably after I had my daughter that I started doing triathlons and was really excited to get back in the pool again.
That's so fun. You finished your communications degree at BYU and you wrote about the swim team for the Daily Universe. Was that a way for you to just stay connected to the sport? Were you missing it a lot?
Yeah, I actually requested to have the swimming beat, and I'm not sure that anybody ever requests to have the swimming beat.
Yeah.
I think if people get assigned, it's a hard sport to understand and to write about and to make sense of if you're not familiar with it. But I just had so much fun with it. You know, I tried to write kind of a lot of lifestyle pieces. So they weren't necessarily about the meets themselves, but kind of the connections that people had that were a part of the program. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And it did. It kept me connected and involved with some of the people that I had met when I was a freshman.
So you stepped away from swimming as an athlete, but then coaching kind of found you and you started with a summer country club team in Houston. Is that right?
Yeah, actually it was in Austin, Texas. Yes. But I went out there and I worked for the Lance Armstrong Foundation.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting now. At the time, he wasn't known for cheating. And but I was going out there and I was doing an internship and within the communications department, right? I was doing event planning for the Lance Armstrong Foundation. And in conjunction with that, I wasn't making any money. And my parents said, well, you should probably try to find, you know, a job that will work with your schedule. And so I approached the rec department and lo and behold, they needed a swim coach in one of their neighborhood communities. And so that was the first time that I really coached and I had so much fun.
Did you ever imagine that that time with that team would lead you to where you are now? Did you ever imagine that? Like, did you feel like, oh, I could see myself doing this forever? Or was it just like a one-time thing? What were you thinking at the time?
Yeah, I don't know if I really remember what I was thinking. Not too long ago, I came across all of my notebooks from when I coached. And it was great to look back and see, you know, the practices that I had written and what I had done and just seeing some of the names of the athletes that I had worked with and kind of that thought of, oh, I wonder where they are now and what they're doing with their lives. But I always just had such a deep desire to help people have the same passion for the sport that I did, that it could be something they did forever, a lifelong sport. And that's something I love about swimming because I truly believe that.
It really is
a lifelong sport.
Yeah. You've coached in Michigan and Wisconsin, built up programs, broke records, and merged club teams. So what do you think has helped you get swimmers and families kind of to buy into your vision?
Yeah. Well, so kind of my vision and the thing that I like to talk about is champions in sport and in life. And that came about when I was a missionary in Brazil. I was serving in my third area and I was walking down the street and I like grabbed my companion's arm and I was like, do you smell that? And she's like, what? I was like, there's a swimming pool around here.
The chlorine.
Yeah. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so I kind of wandered the street sniffing, like as crazy as that sounds. I was like, where is this pool? I've never seen a pool around here. And lo and behold, there's this building and the chlorine waft is so strong that like I'm just immediately drawn in. So like walk into this building, I go down these stairs and in like the basement of this building is a swimming pool. I'm like, what? This is crazy, you know? And I just remember going to the counter and they were selling these swim caps. And I was like, I need a swim cap. I have to buy this swim cap. Like, it's from Brazil. I'm going to take this home. This is so amazing. So I buy the swim cap, but that's what the swim cap said was, you know, of course in Portuguese, but forming champions in sport and in life. And it's just something I just carried with me. And as I've gone throughout my coaching career, that's truly what I think about with the athletes I work. I want them to be successful in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
I love to win, you know?
Yeah.
I love to compete. I just think there's so much excitement around it. And then to have the opportunity to help them shape their lives and be champions in their own lives.
I think
And
that's
that
amazing.
comes in many forms.
Yeah. Do you remember how to say it in Portuguese? I just thought of that. I was like, I wonder if you remember how to say it.
Yeah, formando campeões en no esporte y na vida.
There we go. Beautiful. You actually thought about stepping away from coaching when your daughter was going to graduate. What changed for you when BYU was like, we have this opportunity for you?
Yeah, well, I'd say that I've tried to step away more than once.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a demanding career, coaching swimming. It's a lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends, and it's a year-round sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are going at it day in and day out. And I just think, you know, between just different life experiences and my husband's job and my kids' lives and the things that they wanted to do, it felt like I just don't know if I can keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a lot. And I'm a person that like I invest, and when I invest, I'm all in. And so I invest my heart and soul. And so I just can't do anything just kind of half done.
Yeah.
And so, you know, every time I thought about stepping away, it's because do I have the time
Mm-hmm.
adequate to give like what I feel like people deserve? But every time I tried to step away, it's amazing to see how God's hand has been in my life and intervened and said, nope, you need to keep doing this. And I'm grateful for that now. You know, at the time, it's like, oh, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have some more time on my hands, or I'll be able to do these different activities. And just kind of a gentle nudge every time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I did think my daughter's still not graduated.
Yeah.
But I just kind of had a plan that I was, you know, my exit strategy, right? Move on, find a different career, do something else. And even though it's something I loved, you know? And so, yeah, here I am. I'm grateful that God didn't give up on me and kept pushing me in this direction.
What was the transition like coming back here now as a coach? What would you say are the biggest differences between, like, because you coached middle school and high school and club, what would you say is the biggest difference between that phase of swimming and now college?
Yeah, you know, I think it's exciting. You get these athletes who are away from their families for the first time, really. And you have an opportunity to, you know, work with them in the pool, but also mentor them in a lot of facets of their life. And, you know, you can make an impact on them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, help them understand why they're here and what they're doing and what they want to accomplish in their lives. And I think helping somebody achieve their greatest potential is just so rewarding.
Yeah. In life and in sport.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's your vision. Your vision is champions in life. I don't know if vision's the right word, but like your motto.
Yeah.
Yes. Champions in life, not just champions in sport. So what does that look like for you in your day-to-day coaching?
Yeah, I think in my day-to-day coaching, that is, you know, not giving up on people, right? And everybody has moments of despair. And I think, you know, my experience taught me that people are going through hard things, you know, whether it's visible or not. And to give people the benefit of the doubt and to continue being their cheerleader and helping them, you know, I believe in people and I want them to have that belief in themselves too.
I love that. I'm here with Melissa Springer, BYU swim assistant coach. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Annie.
This episode was produced by me, Annie Robinson. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.